that there is some functionality compulsory for required in child class. There is some functionality compulsorily required in the child class, but parent class is not able to define it. For example, yesterday we saw example of person, walk, talk, eat, sleep, everything was defined, but perform duties, that person could not define. So person perform duties was abstract method. And abstract method cannot be declared in normal class, non-abstract class. The class has to be abstract. And that abstract method we call it as contract. Non-abstract methods we call them as concrete behavior. So once again, when to use abstract class in Java? While designing parent class, if you realize that there is some functionality compulsorily required in child classes, but parent class is not able to define it. This functionality is contract or abstract function. Since abstract function cannot be declared inside non-abstract class, you have to make class as abstract class. Abstract class cannot be instantiated because abstract class is incomplete. It means that abstract class has got at least one contract. That's why abstract class is incomplete. Can abstract class have a constructor? Yes. Abstract class can have a constructor. Even though abstract class cannot be instantiated, abstract class can have constructor, and that constructor will get invoked when you instantiate child class. So abstract class is a combination of contract and concrete behavior. At the parent level, whenever we have a combination of contract and concrete behavior, we go for abstract class. Okay, now in day 3, there is one more file. Y interface. Y interface. Okay, so look at this Y interface file. Here, initially abstract classes are given. Public abstract class mouse event handler. Public abstract class window event handler. So mouse event handler and window event handler are abstract classes. And they have got abstract methods. They have got abstract methods. Mouse clicked, mouse released, window opened, window closed, mouse clicked and mouse release methods are there in mouse event handler. Window open, window close, abstract methods are there in window event handler. It is because mouse event handler is the class which will take care of mouse events, and window event handler is the class which will take care of window events. Now, first of all, we should think why these are abstract methods. Why not concrete methods? That we have to think first. Why these are abstract methods and why these are not concrete methods? It is because different applications will have different logic to be performed when mouse is clicked or mouse is released, mouse button is released. Different applications will have different logic on mouse click and mouse release. That mouse event handler cannot define, is not able to define, but whenever event is performed, something should happen. Whenever mouse is clicked, something should happen, some logic to be performed. Whenever mouse button is released, some logic to be performed. That's why these are contract. Similarly, window open and window close. Various different applications may have different logic. What should happen on window open and what should happen on window close. So once again, window event handler is not in a position to detect, what kind of logic there can be for window open and window close. But whenever window is open, some logic should be performed, and whenever window is closed, some logic should be performed. That's why, once again, these are abstract methods or these are contracts. Okay, so we have understood why these are contracts, why these are abstract methods. Now the problem is, suppose one GUI application, would like to handle mouse events also and window event also. Some application would like to handle mouse events also and window event also. Obviously, because after all, this is GUI application, graphical user interface application. That application would like to handle mouse events also and window events also. Now what that application will try to do, that GUI application will try to extend both the classes because it wants to handle mouse events also and window events also. But is that possible in Java?
No.
Suppose if I say public class GUI app extends mouse event handler, comma, window event handler. That's not possible because multiple inheritance is not possible. So how exactly that GUI application can extend both the classes? Obviously, what you will have to do is you will have to make separate classes. But then instead of that, that is possible. We will go for separate classes. One class will extend mouse event handler, other class will extend window event handler, and then these two classes, these two child classes, we will use in the main class. So that is possible. But then we should think of these classes once again. Mouse event handler is an abstract class, has got two abstract methods. Window event handler is an abstract class. It has got two abstract methods. But wait, yesterday we discussed abstract class. What did we discuss? Abstract class is required when? Abstract class is required when you have a combination of concrete behavior and a contract. Do we see any concrete behavior here? No. Here we see only contract. So now question arises, if we have only contract, should we go for abstract class? The drawback is child class cannot extend more than one abstract classes. So if we have only contract, we should not go for abstract class. We should go for something called as interface. We should go for something called as interface. So in our example, we will have in our example, we will have interface rather than abstract class. Why? Because we have only contracts. So what is the advantage we get when we have these interfaces instead of abstract classes? Now our GUI application public class GUI app implements mouse event handler. Now in case of interface, we have keyword implements mouse event handler, comma, window event handler. So my GUI app class can implement both mouse event handler and window event handler. When a class implements interface, class has to define all the abstract methods of that interface. If not, then you declare class also as abstract class. So GUI app will have to define all four abstract methods. So this is the advantage you get when you go for interface rather than abstract class. Obviously, if at the top level you have a combination of concrete behavior and contract, you have no choice but to go for abstract class. But at the top level, if you have only contract, not a single concrete behavior, then you go for interface. What advantage you get with that? Your child class can implement more than one interfaces. So this is our today's topic, interface. Have a look at this.
So, can you repeat why we go for interface rather abstract?
Class can implement more than one interfaces. That advantage we get. Class cannot extend more than one abstract classes. Correct?
We can say that, sir, it supports multiple inheritance by using interface.
No. It looks like multiple inheritance, but remember, multiple inheritance happens with the class only, not with the interface. Because the interface is just a contract. Multiple inheritance is when you derive your class from multiple classes and you get that behavior from those classes. That is called as real multiple inheritance. Some people do call these as multiple inheritance, but this is not a multiple inheritance.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you.
So, can we do this one abstract class and one interface, and can we implement extend GUI app with implement and extend?
Yeah. But it is always advisable, if you have only contracts, then go for interface. And wait a minute, here we are learning Java 8 version, and I am not talking about Java 8 ka interface. Huh? All of you keep that thing in mind. I am not talking about Java 8 interface. What we are going to do, we are going to learn, we are going to discuss interface prior to Java 8, and then after some time, we will discuss Java 8 interface. How Java 8 interface is different from the interface prior to Java 8. If you directly learn Java 8 interface, I mean, there's no meaning. But if you learn interface prior to Java 8 and then you see now what is the difference of interface in Java 8, that makes sense. So this is what I'm discussing is interface prior to Java 8.
Hello,
so whenever you have only contract, go for interface instead of abstract.
Hello. Sir, how